You know, in the 1960s and 1970s, when you thought of the Boston Bruins, certain players came straight to mind. Derek Sanderson, Bobby Orr, Johnny Busick, Phil Esposito, uh, a myriad of goalies, Cheevers, and every Johnson. But this guy, I think in 1972 Summit Series, which almost killed him, he was a Swedish player put their stick down his throat and he almost bled and choked to death from a cut to his tongue. He was sort of the the heartbeat of the Boston Bruins. Not the most skilled player, but what he did with it was just tremendous. The native of Kingston, Ontario, a scrap iron player, a left winger, 6'1", 180. And you said this word back in the day, it drew nothing but respect from Boston fans and fans of the NHL. It's got to be that great captain, Wayne Cashman. Now, he played 17 seasons for the Bruins in the NHL and helped to win the Stanley Cup twice, and it was his last active player to start his NHL career in the original six era. Now, he played junior in the OHA with the Oshawa Generals, and of course, one of his teammates was Bobby Orr. He played parts of 3 seasons in the minor leagues for the Oklahoma City Blazers with a myriad of up and coming stars, Jim Lorentz, Sanderson, Marcotte, and the Hershey Bears before making the Bruins squad for good in '69. Now, he played his entire NHL career with the Bruins. His jersey number was the infamous number 12. He was a hard grinding left winger on the era's most formidable forward line with Phil Esposito and right wing Kenny Hodge. Of course, Esposito and Hodge ended up with the Rangers later on. His role was to get into the corners, to battle for loose pucks, and was considered one of the original grinders. And of course, feed to Esposito or Hodge at the venerable but tiny Boston Garden. He was also a tenacious forechecker and served as an enforcer to protect Esposito and Orr. Esposito is regarded Cashman as underrated and not receiving sufficient credit, saying Wayne was the digger, he was the heart and soul, without a doubt. Would you believe he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame? Pretty freaky, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he scored his first NHL goal on November 6, 68 in Boston's 7-1 home victory over the Flyers, one of his biggest opponents besides the Maple Leafs and the Habs. Now, a member of the Stanley Cup winning teams in 1972, he scored twice in the deciding game of the 72 finals against the Rangers, won by Boston 3-0. He scored at least 20 goals in a season 8 times in his career, doing so in 4 straight seasons when he also incurred 100 or more penalty minutes. His best season was 74, when he finished 4th in the league in points, played in the All-Star game, and was named in the NHL second All-Star squad. Now, to see what Cashman was like, I know it's a kind of a semi-fictional version of 72, but Jerry D, of all people of Family Feud Canada fame, or the Mr. D TV series, plays Cashman in the series. And if that's as accurate as you can get, Cashman was scared of nobody. He was a jokester, he was a prankster. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The 72 series, we could not have won without him because we needed strength in those games after losing 7-3 the opening. Now, again, that incident occurred before the Final Four games during an exhibition game in Sweden, one of two. Of all people, Alf Sterner stick lodged in Cashman's mouth, cutting his tongue open. The injury required 50 stitches and kept him out of the rest of the summer series and literally almost killed him. Now, captain of the Bruins from 77 to 83, when he retired after the Bruins were eliminated for playoffs in 83, he was the last active player for the NHL's original 6 era, just beating out Serge Savard, whose team was eliminated in an earlier playoff round. That was the Jets. Now, Cashman, the best game I ever saw him play was Game 7 in 79, where him and Middleton almost put Montreal out of their Stanley Cup misery because they were having a hard time with Boston in that series, and they were ahead of Montreal 3-1 at one point before the big comeback. But Cashman's second and third period play is some of the best he's ever played because when you least expected, he was finishing off a play. Now, after his retirement as a player, he served in several coaching positions, including 5 seasons as an AC for the Rangers and 4 for Tampa Bay as an AC. He was again, get this, appointed head coach of the Flyers for the 98 season and held that post for 61 games until he was replaced by all people in Roger Nielsen. And of course, you know how much Bobby Clark liked Nielsen's Christianity, but that's a story for another podcast. He then served thereafter as the team's AC. He was also in the coaching staff of Team Canada's 76 Olympics the 98 Olympics in Nagano, winning silver, and an assistant to Mark Crawford. He was also AC with the Bruins from '01 to '06. Now, first came to major prominence with the Kingston Frontenacs, the JHL in '63, and later that year played one game with Oshawa. With the Generals over 2 seasons, before he started with Boston, 36 goals in 82 games with 94 points and 141 minutes in penalties. And in the playoffs, he had 9 points in 12 contests. First game with Boston was 65, of course. With Oshawa in 66, he had 26 goals in a regular season and a Memorial Cup and regular playoffs, almost a goal a game pace, 25 counters in 31 games, and get this, 72 points in 31 games. Now in Oklahoma City in 67, 20 goals, 36 assists for 56 points. 68, he never played in Boston in 66. He had 4 points for Boston in 12 games. 68 with the Blazers again, 21 counters in 42 games. Again, broke through with Boston with 8 goals in 69, but also played in Hershey that year for 15 points. Now, his first season, full season with Boston, he only had 9 goals, but his next 4 campaigns, 21, 23, 29, and 30 counters, then 11, 28, 15, 24, 27, 11, 25. A big playoff performer, ladies and gentlemen, 88 points in 145 playoff games, and even 250 minutes in penalties. And some people say he stayed on trying to score his 800 point. His last season in the NHL, a rough injury-riddled season, 4 goals, 11 assists for 15 points. Final NHL totals, 277 goals, 516 points, 516 assists, 793 points, 1,041 minutes and penalties. I believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'll tell you why. He was a perennial strong player, 2 cups, made Esposito a better player, made Ken Hodge a better player, and he was always good on defense as well. One of the most important two-way players. And if Guy Carbonneau is in the Hall of Fame, why not Wayne Cashman? And I think that basically his time with Summit Series 72 is more than deserving of recognition. He was one of the heart-beating players of the team with Clark, Ellis, Espo, Parise too. Parise as well he was dedicated to beating the Russians. Now his only season, he was fired, but he was ended up with a 32-29 record in '88. But I wouldn't say demoted to assistant, but that's what the published reports say. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you close your eyes and say, okay, what was Wayne Cashman's game? Play like Wayne Cashman. Enough said. So if you like what we're doing here with our Boston Bruin podcast, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe, or share. The reason why Boston was so popular to our lunch pail team, Don Cherry, like the redneck workers, Cherry always worked with his hands in the off season when he wasn't playing in the minor leagues. But Wayne Cashman, I am very fortunate to say I watched him in his prime, and I wish he was a Montreal Canadian or Toronto Maple Leaf or even a Philadelphia Flyer. Can you imagine if the Flyers would have had Cashman in '76? You might have bet Montreal. That's what I'm saying. But Cashman was a link to the past, but also a link to the future. All the young players coming up with Boston, I know Ray Bork learned a lot from him. He told me himself, saying that Cashman was influenced in the early part of his career for his hard work ethic. So if you like what you're doing with our Boston Bruins podcast, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and share. And this is what he called Conviction Day in the States, May 30th. You know what it is. I don't have to say. And as we like to say in the North Shore of New Brunswick, keep your stick in the ice. Have a good one. Bye.